Appreciate you all taking time out to come learn a bit more about Straits. The intention for tonight is pretty simple. We'd like to give you guys and gals a little bit of a history on the event. Make sure you understand what it's all about, what it takes to compete in it, and hopefully give you a real solid understanding of where the event's come from, where it's headed, and how you can become a part of it, either a skipper or crew or friends and family, whatever works for you. So that's the intention for the evening. We've got, as Ben mentioned, we got 4 or 5 really good speakers lined up for this evening to talk about specific components of the event, from boat preparation and safety to rigging, through to some of the finer arts of keeping your crew happy and avoiding mutiny, these kind of things that are important at 4 a.m. when it's pissing rain and blowing 35 knots in the middle of the strait. So, do you want to talk about your history?
Yeah, the reason that this whole thing came to light is actually last year, I've done the Southern Straits race a few times, and not a huge number, but a few times, and I've always really enjoyed it. But last year was my first time as a skipper. And I can tell you, looking at the PIYA regulations and all of the things that you need to do to be able to get your boat in this thing, it was absolutely daunting. And as soon as you sort of demystify it, I called up some friends and they helped me demystify it, and suddenly we were able to actually participate in the race. But it was a daunting experience, and I didn't really know if I hadn't had the people to call, if I didn't have friends who were great sailors and incredible boat maintenance people, I would have actually probably been pretty hard pressed to get my boat, which was well prepared, in this race. So last year we did all the things we needed to do. We hauled the boat, did an inspection of everything, got a survey done, went up the mast. It seemed to be standing with weight up there, so we were happy. And went to get everything ready. And I'll tell you, I had a laundry list of things to do. And on the night of the Southern Straits, I remember making a phone call to Ty. Can I get my money back? I just can't do this.
Not going to happen, yeah.
He wouldn't let me do it, so we went out and did it. There's a few points that we actually learned on this race. There's a few things that we felt were really important afterwards in the bar. And I think everyone's going to touch on this tonight. And that is a little bit of guidance as to how to know if your boat's safe to actually go out on this sort of thing. A little bit of guidance to know how to deal with your crew. And in my end, we absolutely botched our crew sleep and feeding. It was brutal. We asked everyone to bring their own food. Half the people didn't, or didn't bring the right food, or not enough, or too much. And none of us really got enough sleep. I learned a very important lesson, that is, I sleep no problems when racing on other people's boats. As soon as I was on my boat, you can't do it. We had one moment where I have someone, a couple of people up on deck. I'm below deck, so I'm going to go down for some shut-eye. And we go to waypoint. It's really simple. We're in the middle of the strait. I have this waypoint programmed, and I say to the guys, just sail to that and turn. That's all you have to do. No matter what happens, just hit the waypoint and turn. Are we good? Yes, we're good. Okay. I'm going to go to bed. So I go down, and I'm laying in the quarter berth on my bed, and I hear, the wind shifted 2 degrees. Do you think Ben would tack? Maybe Ben would tack. I think Ben might tack. No! Just sail to the waypoint. Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Just start to doze off again. Well, the wave action's coming from a little bit of the stern. If we tacked, we might have a better... Just leave it alone. So it was the preparation of my crew. It was all of this stuff. And we managed, it was a really light year. We managed to drag our boat around the course and finish. I think we took 36 hours or something. I didn't sleep for one of them. And I'll tell you, I was bagged for the rest of the time. So that was my experience. And getting the boat together was it was a really tough time. So I'm really glad to have these guys here. And one thing I am going to say is, look, if any of you guys have any questions, this is all about you guys. This is what you want, so let us know. One of the best boats are we going to him now tonight?
Could do agenda.
Agenda, oh sure, yeah. Go ahead, sir.
So, as mentioned, we got 4 or 5 speakers. We're going to roll through different segments of kind of putting together a program to be a part of this race if you're so inclined. Race history, we'll talk about how this is the 45th year this race has been run, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's I'll give you some analogies of what was going on back in 1969 when they decided to do this the first time.
Like you knew.
Like I knew, my dad told me. Why do we do this race? This isn't a race. This isn't the scramble. This isn't SOAR. This isn't Deep Cove Regatta. This isn't like the majority of our racing experience. It's something that's a little bit different, and there's no right or wrong with it. It's just it's a different experience. You know, it's kind of that next level. I think we'll get into some of the reasons of why we do this, why we put ourselves through this. We'll talk about the courses for this year. There's always been a short, medium, and a long course, which are kind of traditional classic courses. And then this year is something a little bit different. We're doing an inshore course. and we're doing that for a number of reasons. We'll talk about kind of who we're targeting with that and what it's going to be. Ty Campbell to my left here is going to do a bit of a talk on prepping the Mighty Weasel, the Sea Weasel, a 1978 CS-27. He's done 3 or 4 Straits races as skipper and has gone through the whole process, so he's a really good resource for us. As is Trev, he's going to talk about safety and prep on a boat. Got a ton of experience, obviously. I think you all know Trev. Steve White's in the room. He's going to talk about rigging and lifelines and inspecting your boat, making sure that everything's hunky-dory before you get out there. And then Captain Ed Caradonis is going to talk about Happy Crew, Happy You, all the kind of the fine little finite tidbits and tips that can keep people happy, because it can be a tough slog out there. Hale is going to talk about heavy weather sailing, give us some tips and tricks. Part of this comes out of the Safety Sea course, which has been so popular here in the last couple months. And then we're going to apply the mentors with beer and questions all at the same time and try and figure out, make your connections and make sure that you've got resources and to have these conversations and make sure that this is something that works for you. So,
one thing I also just want to mention, Brad Davies here, who is the Vancouver Rowing Club membership officer, has a list of an email list. So if anyone has any information that you want, or if you want to receive emails about this kind of seminar, just give Brad your information. He'll put you on a list, and that also includes, there's a little bit that says seminars you want to see that you'd like for us to host in the future. The other thing that we're going to talk about is our mentoring program. We have a bunch of experienced people that will actually help you go through all the regulations that you would need to get your boat to meet, but also some mentors that will come out and sail on your boat with you. So if that's something that interests you, just make a note of that when you're putting your email address down, and we can help you out with that.
Yeah. And the skipper is looking for crew, or crew looking for boats, just jot it down and we'll make sure we put you in touch with somebody that's doing the race.
Their website.
Yeah, there's a website link, southernstraits.ca, and then there's a crew pool indicated through there as well. You can sign up. So there's a bunch of different ways that you can get involved if you so desire.
On that note,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, Ty Campbell. No, I lied. Race history.
No, still Ty Abrams. So this race has been going on since 1969, which I think is kind of cool. I don't know that many races have been going on for 45 years. To give some context, that was a long time ago. That's when we first landed on the moon. Woodstock was in full force and the Beatles released Abbey Road. So this has been going on for some time. Most of our boats were alive and well at that point. Still seem to be doing pretty good, actually. I think the biggest difference for people that have been sailing in the recent generations is no GPS, no chart plotters, right? You're out in the middle of the Georgia Strait in the middle of the night, trying around some pointy rocks and 20 to 30 knots of breeze, and you really don't know where you are. So for our generation, that to me is kind of mind-blowing, actually, that this is what used to go on. And it's I think it's kind of cool. It's part of the mystique of Southern Straits and events like Southern Straits, Swiftsure and Oregon Offshore and these types of events, right? So the original course was 120 miles, and there was 3 marks, Entrance Island, sent them down to the Southern Straits, marked near Point Roberts, and then back up to White Islets. 27 out of 39 boats finished, so a little better than half the fleet actually got home and got scored, which is kind of cool. And a classic was born. We've been doing it every year on Good Friday ever since. So that's how it all started. Why do we do it? Well, I guess you can ask that about sailing in general if you look at it from a financial standpoint. But it's a good question. This isn't a race that's for everybody. This isn't something that's, at least myself, I wasn't comfortable in skippering my boat until this year. I've done the better part of 100 races in the bay and park stuff, and with varying degrees of success, but we've always got home and had a good time. This is something a little bit different because you need to prepare for what could happen, right? What could actually happen out there at that time of year. You can get this, which I think we all saw a lot of the cool videos and pictures from 2010. I think a lot of us were out there. Or you get that. You get that just as easily. And it seems to kind of ebb and flow. Usually 3 of these to 1 of these or something like that. This generally doesn't get to this kind of 55 knot range, but 30 plus is pretty typical on the right years, right? So why do we subject ourselves to this? Well, yeah, I don't know. It's the toughest race. I think you become part of a kind of a mini fraternity in a way. You've taken that next step in your sailing career. It's a long tradition of sailors. Have been doing this for a long time. I think you share something kind of special with those people, right? I think it's a cool thing. It's a true test. You can do hundreds of races in English Bay and not be anywhere near ready to go out and do Straits. That's just the nature of the beast. they're different animals. They can be very similar animals. They can be very different animals, right? As can any day on the water, I guess. One thing that when I started looking at putting the money into to my boat to take my crew out safely this year, is I kind of likened it to, well, and I've got a young family. I think you saw my daughter run around here earlier. If you prepare your boat for straits, you're pretty much good for everything. I mean, that's your Cat 2. We'll get into the intricacies of what that really means, but you've got that general feeling that you've invested in your boat, you've had it maintained and inspected, and you feel good about it, and you take your family or your friends out in tough situations, and it's kind of nice to have that confidence in your crew and in your vessel. And then, you know, for our armchair quarterbacks, it's probably the closest we'll ever get to doing a Hobart or one of the real true offshore races, you know, some of the European stuff. You know, I recognize it's only 130 miles, it's all inshore, but you know, at certain times of the race, it kind of feels like you're really doing something neat, right? So these are kind of some of the feedback we got from all the people that have done it over the years. Courses, I know some of us were involved in some rather heated discussions over this, but generally, as I mentioned earlier, there's always 3 classic courses. The long is in and around 130 miles every year. It's 135, so this year we're sending the big boats. This is open to, I think it's 24 and below or something on PHRF. So for people that are kind of new to sailing, big festivals, 12 crew and that kind of thing.
Can I sail on that one?
Yeah, come with me. So up to Sisters Island, and then we try to utilize in Straits after 2010. We try to utilize permanent islands, permanent marks. We try not to use things that could be blown away in a bit of a storm. So it does kind of limit what we can do as far as setting courses, but it helps keep everybody a little bit safer. We get criticized a little bit in running the same course or combination of islands, but this is really generally where we get the best breeze and we have the best opportunities to use permanent marks for safety reasons. So it's up to us to kind of cook up combinations that work. So this one you can see is Sisters, Bolinas, and then Halibut back to Bolinas entrance and home for 135. Medium course is quite similar without the hitch up to Sisters. And you know, for us that usually kind of do our sailing in this little geographic territory here, and a run up to the Bellboy is a bit of a run. This is, as you can see, it's a bit of a different animal graphically, and certainly when you're sitting on the rail on the high side at 3 a.m., it feels a lot different as well. Thinking about wonton soup and your jogging pants and what DVD you're going to watch when you get home, right? Short course is a little shorter this year. What we've tried to do is move everybody, with the exception of the big sleds. We want to try to move them to Halibut Bank and then have them coming home from Halibut. We feel that's a little more tactically, it's better from a tactical standpoint, in the fact that generally we get wind from here, and this is a bit of a parade home from across the strait. So this gives you a few more options as to what you're going to do and how you might be able to kind of usurp your top competitor, right? Like the Weasel. That's a good example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What is different is the inshore course. So I think this has been done 2 or 3 times in Straits history in 45 years. Generally, when the Martins were really hot, kind of a hot fleet, they wanted to bring in some of those smaller boats. The intention for the inshore course this year is very much to involve some of the new people and some of the regulars as well. But the idea is to backfill Straits, to create a kind of a mini course. In this case, it's 20 miles, and we're going to try to do some up Howe Sound if we can make it happen. Most of us have done lots of racing in this area. We'd like to try something a little bit different.
If you can, just for a second, I actually want to make an announcement that this inshore course is going to be, VRC's putting out a challenge. We've had a really successful Polar Bear racing series,
Yeah.
which is a whole bunch of really, really slow Catalina 27s.
You can stop there. Continue.
And other
Dark
painfully
side.
slow boats. And we're going to challenge all these people to go out and participate in this course. And we're going to informally score it as the Champignon-ship series or something. We'll come up with a creative name for it. But we're actually going to do a VRC challenge to get all these boats out. So if you guys have been out, if any of you guys are skippers in the VRC boats, you've got a San Juan 24, Santana 22, something like that, and you want to go out and play in the Straits, go do this inshore course. This is a great first course. Register through West Van Yacht Club. the Vancouver Rowing Club's not going to charge you anything. We'll score you as well. We'll present it next year at our award ceremony.
Yeah.
And we really want to see everyone going out and doing this course. So if you're not comfortable with the long, medium, or short course, go out, do the inshore course, have a great time, and beat all the Catalina 27s.
We're going to try to put a little bit of a party together for the inshore guys because they'll be finishing a little bit ahead of the other guys, of course, the rest of the boats. But the idea is pretty simple. You know, if you're not ready to do straights yet, either the boat's not ready, the crew's not ready, you're not comfortable. We want you to be comfortable and ready to be out there. That's the name of the game. It's safety first for all of us involved. So this is an opportunity to do something that's a little bit beyond probably what you did at Polar Bear. Probably a little bit beyond a distance race that you've done at Fraser Lightship or something like that, but it's that intermediary step which really hasn't existed prior to this. So that's the idea behind it. If you've got any questions, of course, Ben and myself, you can contact us anytime. Yeah, he'll make some stuff up and forward me an email. So this may not work. It may be a different setup, but those are the three courses for 2013, and we hope it's a great success, obviously. I'm going to pass over to Ty Campbell, who's going to talk about getting the Mighty Sea Weasel ready for his first straights.